My girlfriend took me aside before a board event. She demanded silence. Imagine being told by the person you love to essentially disappear for an evening, to dim your light completely. But then, the most powerful person in the room ignores everyone important, walks right past your partner, and heads straight for you, completely changing your life and your relationship forever. Story asterisk honestly. Looking back, the warning signs were there, simmering beneath the surface for years. I'm 35 now, and this whole crazy story unfolded after 4 years with my ex-girlfriend. We met at a charity fundraiser, introduced by mutual friends. She was this absolute force of nature, working the room, effortlessly charming everyone.
Me?
I was just there because a buddy dragged me along, probably looking a bit out of place. She's a corporate lawyer, one of those sharp, driven women who live and breathe high-powered downtown firms, where $1,000 suits are uniforms and billable hours are a religion.
Me?
I'm a graphic designer, mostly freelance. Which, let's be real, means I work from home in sweatpants, answer to nobody but my clients, and my biggest corporate battle is usually with my internet provider. For a while, it worked. Really well, actually. She loved that I was creative, that I didn't fit into her rigid corporate world. And I admired her ambition, her drive, how she just seemed to have everything together. It felt balanced. But then, sometime around year 2, things subtly started to shift. It began small, innocent almost. A comment about my outfit for one of her work events. Then it escalated to my conversation topics. Maybe don't talk about that indie documentary, honey. These people only care about market trends. Soon, it was general suggestions about how I should present myself around her colleagues. By year 3, I wasn't her boyfriend anymore. I was an accessory. Her quirky, creative, acceptable accessory. Someone she could trot out at parties, but only if I stayed firmly in my lane. Only if I didn't embarrass her. It was gradual, like watching paint peel, but eventually, it became undeniable. I'd start a story, and she'd grip my arm a little too hard, a subtle warning. I'd try to talk about my work, my passion, and she'd expertly change the subject. Her introductions went from, "This is my amazing boyfriend, he's a fantastic graphic designer," to just a flat, almost apologetic, "This is my boyfriend." No elaboration. No pride. Just me. I should have left then. Oh, how I should have left. Looking back, the signs weren't just flashing neon. They were practically screaming. But you know how it is when you're deep in it. You make excuses. You tell yourself it's just the stress from her high-pressure job. You convince yourself that love means compromise. Even when that compromise is your entire personality, your very essence. Then came last month, the annual board reception at her firm. This wasn't just an event, it was the event. A massive deal, the kind that gathers partners, clients, and, most importantly, some elusive guest of honor, a name whispered in reverent tones in corporate circles. She was wound tighter than a spring for weeks. Obsessed. Planning her outfit, rehearsing conversation points, meticulously strategizing who she needed to impress. 2 days before, over dinner at her place, she brought it up again. Her fork pushed around her salad, her eyes fixed on her plate. "I need you to really understand how important Friday night is," she said, her voice tight. "This could literally make or break my partnership track." "I get it," I replied, trying to keep my tone even. "You've mentioned it." She looked up then, her gaze intense. "No, I'm serious. The guest of honor, she's on the board of 3 Fortune 500 companies. If she notices me, just a glance, it could change everything." A heavy silence. I braced myself. "Okay," I said carefully. "What do you need from me?" She finally looked directly at me. Her words came out in a rush, a clear list of demands. "I need you to be on your absolute best behavior. Dress appropriately. Do not talk about your work unless someone specifically asks. And please, please, for the love of God, don't try to be funny." My blood ran cold. Don't try to be funny? So, I'm not allowed to have a personality then? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "That's not what I said," she snapped back, but we both knew it was exactly what she meant. She let out that exasperated sigh, the one that had become so painfully familiar lately. Can you just do this for me? One night. That's all I'm asking. I should have said no. I should have told her, right then and there, that if she was so embarrassed by who I was, we had much bigger problems than a corporate reception. But I didn't. I just nodded, a hollow feeling in my chest, and finished my dinner in silence. The bitterness tasted worse than the food. The night of the reception, I put on the suit she'd chosen. Charcoal gray, a crisp white shirt, a burgundy tie. I looked generic, like every other well-dressed, anonymous man in that ballroom, which I realized was probably the whole point. She scrutinized me when I emerged from the bedroom, adjusting my collar, smoothing my lapels, treating me less like her partner and more like a mannequin she was dressing. "Remember what we talked about?" she reiterated as we walked out the door. "Stay quiet. Look pretty."
Got it.
"Don't be like that," I mumbled, but it fell on deaf ears. The car ride was silent, punctuated only by the soft glow of her phone as she frantically texted colleagues and scanned the guest list. She didn't spare a word for me until we pulled up to the grand entrance. The ballroom was opulent. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the glittering city skyline. Chandeliers dripped with crystal, ice sculptures gleamed, and an army of waiters glided by with champagne flutes and delicate canapés. Soft classical music played, creating an atmosphere of sophisticated pretense. Everyone looked important, and everyone, it seemed, wished they were somewhere else. My girlfriend, however, was in her element. She morphed into a networking machine the second we stepped inside. She worked the room with practiced precision, her smile bright and unwavering, stopping to chat with partners, laughing a little too loudly at unfunny jokes, touching people's arms in that calculated way that's meant to convey genuine connection. I trailed a few steps behind, a silent shadow, smiling when prompted, shaking hands when introduced, saying as little as humanly possible. About half an hour in, she pulled me aside near the bar. Her dazzling smile evaporated the moment we were out of earshot. "Stay quiet tonight," she hissed, her voice low, urgent. "These people matter." "I haven't said anything," I reminded her, a knot forming in my stomach. "Good.
Keep it that way.
The guest of honor is arriving any minute, and I need to make the right impression." "What do you want me to do?" I asked, my voice flat. "Just stand back. Look supportive. Don't insert yourself into conversations." A cold, heavy feeling settled in my chest. "Invisible? You want me to be invisible, then?" Her eyes flashed, a spark of anger. "I want you to be aware of the situation. This isn't about you." "It never is," I thought but didn't say. Instead, I just repeated, "Nothing. I'll stay quiet." She scrutinized my face for a long moment, as if trying to decipher if I was being sarcastic, if I dared to undermine her. Then, a quick squeeze of my arm, and she was gone, swallowed by the glittering crowd. I walked to the bar, ordered a whiskey, and found a spot by the windows. A perfect vantage point to watch the show and to remain utterly unnoticed. About 20 minutes later, the guest of honor arrived. You could feel the ripple through the room. Conversations quieted. Heads turned. Everyone gravitated toward the entrance. I watched my girlfriend position herself with surgical precision near the door, adjusting her dress, her smile a practiced, predatory thing. The woman who walked in was formidable. Late 50s, an elegant navy dress, and an aura of quiet confidence that didn't need to shout. Short silver hair, eyes that were sharp, assessing, taking in everything at once. People swarmed her, of course, but she handled them with polite efficiency, shaking hands, but always moving forward, never getting trapped. My girlfriend, ever the opportunist, stepped smoothly into her path, hand extended, that practiced smile plastered on her face. I saw her lips moving, saw the guest of honor nod politely. And then something extraordinary happened. The woman's eyes shifted. They swept past my girlfriend, scanned the room, and then, unbelievably, locked directly onto me. She walked past my girlfriend. Just past her. Like she wasn't even there. The crowd parted, a silent acknowledgement of her unspoken authority, as she crossed the entire ballroom. And I realized, with a jolt that sent adrenaline coursing through me, that she was coming straight for me. I actually glanced behind me, thinking, no way, she must be looking at someone else. But there was only the window. She stopped maybe 3 feet away, studying my face with an intensity that made my stomach churn. The people nearby had fallen silent, watching, waiting. "I know you," she said, her voice clear, confident. I don't think so," I stammered, my voice barely a squeak. "We've never met." "No," she replied, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. "But I know who you are." She took a step closer. "You're the graphic designer. The one who did the campaign for the environmental nonprofit last year." I blinked. My mind raced. "How did you—" "I'm on the board of that nonprofit," she interrupted, a genuine smile now. "I saw your work. It was exceptional. Bold. Authentic. Nothing like the corporate nonsense we usually see." She paused, her gaze unwavering. "I've been trying to track you down for months. My assistant couldn't find any contact information beyond your old website. I've been meaning to update that." I managed, still reeling, still processing. "Well, consider yourself found." She pulled out her phone, holding it out. "I want to hire you. I'm launching a new initiative, and I need someone who can create something genuine, not another committee-approved focus group disaster. Are you available?" Yes," I blurted, my voice cracking a little. "I mean, I'd need to hear more about the project, of course, but yes." Right there, in the middle of this high-stakes corporate event, we exchanged information. She asked about my process, my influences, my availability. We talked for 15 minutes, maybe more. I completely forgot about the opulent ballroom, the hushed crowd, everything. Until I saw her, my girlfriend, standing a few feet away, her face pale. The guest of honor, following my gaze, turned. "Oh, is this your girlfriend?" she asked, a slight arch to her eyebrow. "The one who tried to intercept me at the door?" "Yes," I managed, a strange mix of triumph and dread swirling inside me. To my girlfriend and said, "She should be very proud of you. You're extremely talented." Then, a subtle shift in her tone as she addressed my girlfriend directly. "It didn't mention your boyfriend was the designer behind the Meadowbrook campaign." My girlfriend's smile looked painful, like a mask about to shatter. I didn't realize you'd be familiar with his work," she stammered. "I make it my business to know talent when I see it," Em replied, her gaze sharp, unwavering. She turned back to me, dismissing my girlfriend entirely. "My assistant will reach out next week to set up a proper meeting. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your evening." With a final, knowing look, she moved on, effortlessly gliding towards the firm's senior partners. I stood there, whiskey still in hand, acutely aware that everyone nearby had just witnessed the entire, incredibly public, exchange. My girlfriend's colleagues were staring. Some looked impressed, others openly confused. My girlfriend? She looked absolutely furious. She grabbed my elbow, her grip almost painfully tight, and practically dragged me towards a quiet hallway outside the ballroom. The second we were alone, her facade crumbled. The smile vanished. "What was that?" she hissed, her voice barely a whisper, thick with rage. "She recognized my work," I said, feeling a surge of defiant calm. "You made me look like an idiot." "How?" I retorted, my own anger bubbling up. "I didn't do anything. You upstaged me. At my own firm's event." She took a step closer, her face contorted. "What was I supposed to do?" I shot back. "Politely inform a Fortune 500 board member that she was making a mistake by talking to me? That she should be talking to you. You could have directed the conversation back to me. Mentioned what I do. Made an introduction that mattered." She wanted to talk about my work. "Your work." She laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. "Your freelance graphic design. That's what was important tonight." Apparently to her, yes. "Do you know how this looks?" Her voice was cracking now, desperate. "I've been trying to get her attention for weeks, and she just walks past me to talk to my boyfriend about some charity project. That charity project took me 4 months of my life." I countered, my voice rising. "It was featured in 3 major publications. But you wouldn't know that, would you? Because you've never asked about my work. She flinched. That's not fair. Not fair. I echoed, my frustration finally boiling over. When's the last time you asked me about a project or showed any interest in what I do? You treat my entire career like it's some embarrassing hobby. Something to tolerate, not celebrate. That's not true, she cried. Isn't it? I challenged, leaning in. You told me not to talk about my work tonight. You dressed me like one of your interchangeable colleagues. You literally told me to stay quiet because these people matter. As if I don't. She opened her mouth, then closed it, speechless. Her eyes were shining now, a furious blend of anger and tears. I need to go back in there, she finally said, her voice shaking. And I need you to not make this worse. Make what worse? I asked, genuinely confused. This situation. People are going to have questions. Let them ask, I shrugged. That's easy for you to say, she burst out. You don't have to face these people every day. You don't have to worry about your reputation. Neither do you, I replied, my voice dangerously calm. You're worried about your image. That's different. She stared at me, her expression unreadable. For what felt like an eternity. I'm going back inside. Are you coming? No, I said, a wave of clarity washing over me.
No.
I'm going home. You can stay and network. You can't just leave. Watch me. I turned and walked away, towards the elevator. She called after me, but I couldn't look back. I took a car straight home, stripped off that corporate costume, put on my sweatpants, and sat on my couch in the dark. For the first time in a long time, I actually started thinking about the last 4 years. My girlfriend didn't come home that night.
Not that I expected her to.
Around midnight, a text. Staying at my place. We'll talk tomorrow. I didn't reply.
What was there to say?
The next morning, I woke up to an email. It was from the guest of honor's assistant. They wanted to schedule a video call for Monday to discuss the project in detail. The scope, it turned out, was even bigger than I'd imagined. A full rebrand for a brand new foundation, plus ongoing creative direction. The kind of project that could literally change the trajectory of my entire career. I was still reeling, still trying to process the enormity of it all. Then, around 10 a.m., she showed up. My ex. She looked tired, almost haunted, as if she hadn't slept a wink. She walked straight in, didn't even wait for an invitation, and sank onto my couch. We need to talk, she said, her voice hoarse. Okay, I replied, my voice surprisingly steady. Last night was a disaster, she stated flatly. For you, maybe. I shot back, the words coming out before I could stop them. She looked up sharply, her eyes flashing. What's that supposed to mean? It means I got offered a major project from someone who actually respects my work. Someone who saw me, really saw my talent. From where I'm sitting, it was a pretty damn good night. While humiliating me in front of my entire firm, she cried, a fresh wave of tears welling up. I didn't humiliate you, I said, my voice hardening. You humiliated yourself. You did it by treating me like I was some child you needed to manage instead of someone you were supposed to support, to lift up. I was trying to help you navigate that environment. I don't need help navigating, I retorted, feeling the years of suppressed frustration finally break free. I need a girlfriend who's proud of me. I am proud of you. Are you? I challenged, standing now, pacing. Because for 4 years you've tried to minimize who I am. Make me smaller, so you could look bigger. She went quiet, a long, heavy silence stretching between us. That's not what I was doing, she finally whispered. Then what were you doing? My voice was raw with emotion. I was trying to protect you. Those environments, they can be cutthroat. I didn't want you to get hurt. By doing what? I scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping me. By having a conversation? By being myself? The only one who's hurt me in this relationship, the only one who tried to cut me down was you. Her face crumpled completely, tears streaming down her cheeks. That's not fair. You know it's not fair? I almost shouted, my own control slipping. Being told to stay quiet because the people around you matter more than I do. Being dressed up like a doll because my actual style is embarrassing. Being treated like your success and my success can't coexist. That one has to overshadow the other. I never said that, she sobbed. You didn't have to. I countered, the words pouring out, years of resentment finding their voice. You showed me. Every time you changed the subject when I talked about my work. Every time you introduced me as just my boyfriend, with no elaboration. Every time you acted like my career was something to tolerate, rather than celebrate. She was openly crying now, her shoulders shaking, but I felt numb. Utterly, completely numb. What do you want me to say? She choked out. I don't want you to say anything, I said, my voice quiet, decisive. I want you to leave. Her head snapped up. You're breaking up with me? I'm making space, I clarified, for both of us to figure out who we are without each other. That's the same thing. Yes, I confirmed, looking her directly in her tear-filled eyes. Yes, I'm breaking up with you. She stood up, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand, her movements stiff. This is because of last night, isn't it? Because she noticed you and not me? No, I said, shaking my head slowly. This is because of the last 4 years. Last night just made it impossible to ignore anymore. She left without another word. I heard her crying, soft, despairing sounds, as she walked down the hallway and out the door. But I didn't go after her. I didn't even move. I just sat back on the couch in the quiet apartment and felt relieved. And that single, overwhelming feeling told me everything I needed to know. Over the next few weeks, as if by magic, word about the project spread like wildfire. My inbox exploded. Other organizations started reaching out, offering opportunities one would have quite literally killed for just a year prior. I finally updated my website, confidently raised my rates, and started being far more selective about my clients. For the first time in years, it felt like I was actually building something real, something solid. My ex would text occasionally. First, apologies, then desperate questions about whether we could talk, then just random updates about her life. I never responded. I finally blocked her number after she showed up at my apartment one evening, drunk and crying, rambling about how she'd made a mistake. I just wanted you to fit in, she slurred through the door. I thought I was helping. I don't need to fit in, I called back, my voice firm. I needed you to believe in me. She eventually left. Later, a mutual friend told me she'd been telling people we broke up because I was too focused on my career. The irony, it wasn't lost on me. About 3 months after that infamous reception, Em invited me to lunch. She wanted to discuss expanding our working relationship even further, which was incredible. But she also had something else to tell me. I knew exactly who you were when I walked into that room, she confessed, a glint in her sharp eyes. I'd already decided I wanted to hire you. She leaned forward. But when I saw your girlfriend trying to position herself to intercept me, I got curious. I put my fork down, my stomach doing a flip. Curious about what? About what kind of person would date someone with your talent and then try to keep them so deliberately in the background, she explained. So I walked straight to you instead. Wanted to see how she'd react. My jaw dropped. You did that on purpose? I did, she confirmed, without an ounce of regret. And I'm not sorry. That woman was never going to truly appreciate you. She was too busy building herself up to notice. She was tearing you down. You could have just hired me normally, I murmured, still stunned. I could have, Em acknowledged. But sometimes you need to see what it looks like when someone truly values your work. We get so used to being diminished, so accustomed to scraps of validation, that we forget what genuine respect feels like. She was absolutely right. I'd spent 4 long years accepting those scraps, convincing myself that my ex's tolerance was the same as pride. One honest conversation, one moment of true recognition from someone who actually respected my work, had shattered that illusion into a million pieces. Thank you, I said, truly meaning it. Don't thank me, she smiled. Just keep doing what you're doing. And next time someone tries to make you quiet, walk away sooner. It's been 8 months since that reception. 8 months. The foundation rebrand launched last month to significant media attention. I've been interviewed by major design publications, invited to speak at conferences, and offer more work than I can reasonably take on. My calendar is booked solid through next year, and for the first time in my life, I'm making the kind of money that actually matches my skill level and my passion. I even ran into my ex a few weeks ago at a coffee shop. She looked good, polished, and put together as always. She congratulated me on the foundation project, said she'd seen the coverage. "I always knew you were talented," she said, a faint smile on her lips. "No," I replied, meeting her gaze directly. "You knew I was talented, but you didn't think it mattered. There's a difference."
She didn't argue.
We made some awkward small talk, then went our separate ways. I heard from that same mutual friend that she'd made partner at her firm. Good for her. I truly hope she finds someone whose success doesn't threaten her own. As for me, I'm not just good. I'm better than good. I'm finally working on projects I genuinely care about, with people who truly value what I bring to the table. And yes, I'm dating someone new. She's a photographer, and she actually gets excited when I talk about typography and color theory. We celebrate each other's wins instead of competing for space, or trying to dim the other's light. I learned something incredibly important from all this. You should not build a life with someone who needs you to be smaller. Real love doesn't ask you to stay quiet. It doesn't require you to dim your light so someone else can shine. It amplifies you. It celebrates you. It creates space for both people to grow, fiercely and authentically. And was absolutely right. Sometimes you need someone to show you what true respect looks like before you even realize how long you've been living without it. I'm grateful for that reception. Grateful for that pivotal moment when someone walked across an entire room to acknowledge my work instead of expecting me to hide it. Most of all, I'm grateful I finally learned to take up space. Call to action *. So, I'm curious. Have you ever felt like you had to shrink yourself for someone else's comfort or ambition? What did you do? Or maybe you've been the one who recognized someone's hidden talent when no one else would. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to hear your stories.